Coming up on Look Today. Well, after the first draft was released for the Saratoga Charter recommendations, some are still in opposition to the proposed changes. I've got details. And the Cornell extension of Warren County is building an education center. More on that coming up. Plus, Code Blue shelter in Saratoga prepares for its Blue Needs You 8K run. It's a fundraiser. I've got details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, tonight's program, I sit down with Jim Goodspeed. He's the race director for the Rotary 5K Corporate Challenge in Glens Falls. We're joined by Bob Underwood. He's the vice president of the Under the Woods Foundation, and they're here to talk about this important race that's happening on April 15. Plus, I also sit down with Jessica Munson. She's a programming and outreach coordinator for the National Museum of Dance in Saratoga. She's here to talk about the museum's 30th anniversary celebration, which is starting Saturday, April 8th. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, believe it or not. But first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, continuing our coverage on the Saratoga Charter review process. Well, members of the group called Success are in opposition to the proposed changes to the form of government in Saratoga. Well, the draft charter that was released recommends a council manager form of government, increasing the current 5-member council to 6 plus a mayor. Well, we spoke to Richard Sellers. He's a member of Success.
We do not, and speaking for the organization, like having a single person who is unelected and therefore undemocratic make so many decisions. The council and mayor would not be able to even work with the department heads to get things done for the voters and residents. Now, in an upcoming edition of Beyond the Headlines, we're going to have them on to discuss, the members of the group Success on to discuss this in more detail. All right, in other news, the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Warren County is building an education center on their property. The education center includes a greenhouse, barn, and pond. Now, the organization is receiving $96,000 from the State Department of Agriculture and Markets. We spoke to James Seeley about the center.
The Education Center is a plan that we have to increase and enhance our programs at Extension. What we plan to do is put up a greenhouse, which will promote agriculture, used by 4-H'ers, used by master gardeners, used by the community if we have community gardens, and a pole barn, which will also give us additional program space. Archery's become very popular, and we will be able to promote and enhance our existing programs with that.
It's a great organization. All right, switching from news to weather. Well, today saw continued snowfall. No, this is not February. Temperatures in the 30s this afternoon, but be aware because we're getting a mix of sleet later on. Let's see how this weekend is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first April Fool's forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. Hope you're having a wonderful end of your week so far. As we continue on through the overnight tonight into the daytime tomorrow, we're going to continue to watch this low slowly spinning across the region. Some wraparound moisture will continue to hang in there. That means some snow, sleet, rain will all be mixing in as we go through the next, say, 24 to 36 hours. Heaviest batch of wet weather and some thunderstorm activity down to the south around this warm front, but we're on the edges of all this, so the cold air will remain in place. You can see the overnight low in Albany, 34, quickly getting colder to the further north you head, and we are right there in the slot. We're expecting to see some frozen mix, some wintry mix hanging with us through tonight. So we'll drop back down to low of 30. We'll start off with some rain, mixing in some sleet, then some snow likely by daybreak, and then we're going to see that transition back to some sleet and rain through the afternoon as highs do warm up well above freezing, high about 37 degrees. So out the door tomorrow morning, do expect to see some snow and sleet. No real accumulation is expected. Temperatures out the door about 31 to 33, and then we'll start to see that heavier precipitation tapering back off and then changing over to some lighter rain for Saturday. and Saturday evening. Back to sunshine Sunday, 47 for the high, so we'll start to become a bit more mild heading through the back half of the weekend. Then into next week, we do expect to see at least another chance at a few early morning snow showers as we head into Tuesday, and a bigger warm-up expected by the midweek. Well, that's it from the Weather Center. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm your meteorologist, Brandon Boucher, and let's get back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Brand. Well, you probably noticed that the temperature is hovering right around that 32-degree mark. So between the rain, the snow, and the sleet, and overnight, those roads are going to get rough, so be careful out there. Back to the news. Well, winter has not completely gone away yet with these cold temperatures and snow. But Shelters of Saratoga are preparing for their Blue Needs You 8K run. Now, the funds raised from this event are Code Blue Shelter's biggest monetary source. The run also raises awareness for Code Blue Shelter's important contributions to our community. Well, we spoke to Rosemary Reedhammer. She's a Director of Development and Marketing for Shelters of Saratoga.
The Blue Needs You 8K is coming up on April 15th. It starts at High Rock Ave at the Pavilions, and it winds its way through the east side of Saratoga Springs. It's a nice challenging course, 5 miles, and the maxed amount of runners this year is 600, so we are looking to get the support of the community to get out there and run for Blue this year.
Wow, April 15, big day for runs, huh? Up next, I sit down with Jim Goodspeed. He's a race director for the Rotary 5K Corporate Challenge. We're joined by Bob Underwood. He's the vice president of the Under the Woods Foundation. They're here to talk about an important race that, guess what, is happening on April 15. Plus, I also sit down with Jessica Munson. She's a programming and outreach coordinator for the National Museum of Dance in Saratoga. She's here to talk about the museum's 30th anniversary celebration, which is starting on April 8th. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea. How about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. A couple of lookouts for tonight. First one, it's Friday. I want to thank the crew, and that would be Andrew and Drew, Antoinette and Dana, Jack and Joel, and Norm for making this program possible each week. A reminder, go to Facebook. Tell us what you think. We're always interested in knowing that. The Dance Alliance event is this weekend at the National Museum of Dance in Saratoga. And last but not least, the brother by another mother, one of my closest friends' birthday is today, and that would be Sonny Bonaccio. That's a name I'm sure a lot of you recognize. And if you know Sonny, you know he's one of the great people in our community. He's loyal, he's a wonderful friend, and believe it or not, he's turned 50 years old. And one thing I'm glad about is that he's kind of matured. And recently I was up on the lake with him near his lake house, and he wanted to go snowmobiling, and I just thought we'd just show you a little clip of how mature Sonny has gotten over the years when it comes to taking a risk. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy birthday, Sonny.